And now let's go ahead and talk about everyone's favorite topic, the system requirements. Photoshop, because it can do so much, requires a pretty hefty system to get the most out of the application. So let's start off with the Windows PC platform and then move over to the Macintosh. If you have Photoshop already, you can simply find the same information I'm about to give you on the box, or you can go online. So you can find these requirements anywhere, but just in case you're watching this and you want to find out very quickly, I'm going to tell you what I have here. So for the Windows PC, what you are going to want is an Intel Pentium, and for a Pentium you want to make sure you have the latest one, which I believe is 4. So you want an Intel Pentium 4 or an Intel Citrino, an Intel Xeon, or an Intel Core Duo or compatible processor. Now you're going to want to have for your operating system the Microsoft Windows Vista Home Premium, Business, Ultimate, Enterprise, or Windows XP with Service Pack 2. The minimum amount of RAM, and I'm going to say that one more time, the minimum amount of RAM is 512. Of course, for Photoshop, you're going to want 400 million and a half. The more RAM you have, the faster Photoshop runs. So I currently have about 2 gigabytes in my computer, and RAM is very inexpensive, so make sure you max that out if you can. If not, try to get at least 1.5, 2 gigabytes of RAM. So once again, the minimum, 512. For your video RAM, which is on your video card, you want to have a 64 megabyte video RAM on your card. And as far as your hard drive space, you're going to want to have 1 gigabyte of available disk space. Of course, I recommend much more. And if you have a new computer, that's not even an issue because these hard drives today are ridiculous. I bought my computer about 2 years ago and I still have not filled it up. Even though I do video, I do a lot of Photoshop stuff, you really shouldn't have much of an issue filling that hard drive up. So if you have a recent computer, you probably have 40 gigs, 50 gigs, 60, or something like that. Now for your computer monitor, your resolution should be 1024 by 768, okay? Although you can, play around with that if you have a bigger monitor or whatever. And you're going to want to have a 16-bit video card for that. You're going to definitely need a DVD-ROM drive or you won't be able to install the application. You're going to need QuickTime 7 software for the multimedia features. And for the broadband, you're going to want to have something so you can actually connect to the Adobe stock photos. You can download photographs from the bridge if you so desire. Also, I recommend that you have an internet connection so that you can go to Google and do searches for images that you can play around with. As long as you don't use them for making money, that's fine. Play around at your leisure. Just make sure that if the image is owned by someone and there's a copyright, contact that person first, get permission, or find out how much it costs to license that image. Now let's talk about the Macintosh platform. You're going to want to have a PowerPC G4 or G5 multi-core Intel processor. You're going to want to use Macintosh OS 10.4.8, and once again, the minimum RAM is 512. I recommend personally much more. 2 gigabytes, 1.5, go all out if you can. Same thing for the video card, 64 megabytes of video RAM. And as far as the hard drive space, you're going to want to have 2 gigabytes available. By the way, for the Windows and for the Macintosh, that means you also want to have a lot of space to actually install Photoshop CS3 or the entire Creative Suite. You're going to want the same exact monitor, 1024 by 768 with a 16-bit video card, a DVD-ROM drive, QuickTime 7 for the multimedia features, and once again, if you're going to use the Adobe stock photos, you want to make sure you have a DSL connection or some kind of way to access the images and also to get automatic updates to your applications through the Adobe website. And by the way, when you launch these applications, they'll let you know if there's a new version and you click install or you can cancel that and do it some other time. So once again, those are the system requirements that you're going to need to run Photoshop efficiently. Make sure that you find out from your retailer or your reseller how you can really maximize your computer to run Photoshop at its peak.